there's a lot of hurt people and a lot of people confused. And as I said before, you're on the front lines and are seeing this. And it's hard. It's, somebody who's going through something and who could use some kind of help like this. So we're just going to run through the questions. I think they're good ones. And we're going to get into the meat of some of this, but let's go back to the beginning. Um, can you take us back to the moment when you first became interested in relationship therapy and what inspired you to jump into the field?
Well, I think I have a unique perspective on what relationship therapy is. Um,
Yeah, that's another reason why I was like, "Ooh, I want to talk to Becky."
yeah, my mentor actually is more into energy work, which is like the shamanic side of therapy, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, and she taught me that relationship is present in everything, right? We have a relationship with food, with our environment, with ourselves, with other people. Um, and so it comes down to understanding that how you see yourself is going to dictate your relationships with everything else and everyone else. So when I shifted into that kind of realm of awareness, I was like, wow, this is pretty amazing. And I felt like it was a time where it allowed me to recognize that as individuals, we all have a whole lot more power and control over our lives than we ever thought we did.
So true, and that's the thing that a lot of people miss, because you're in it, and I see it, right? I teach for a living as well, and you just see so many people get caught just wrapped up in this whole victim mindset, and it's sad, because you don't
Yeah.
have to be there, you don't have to stay there, you can everybody gets there at some point, but you don't have to live in it,
Yeah.
and you know there's a lot of people that for whatever reason they failed to learn it. Their parents didn't teach them, nobody taught them, and they're in this just a downward spiral, and they don't know how to get out, and that's why they need help.
Yeah.
Um so mm, let's move on to conflict. What are some of the most common sources of conflict between men and women in relationships that you see? You know,
Well, it's interesting because you just brought up what I think is the one of the major roots of conflict in relationships. You said that victim mentality and what they did or they didn't learn from their parents, right?
hmm
Um, so in like family therapy, we call it family of origin. So the family that you grew up in, right? And within that family system, you're literally being programmed um, to function a certain way, right? One of the videos that I do on my YouTube channel was about attachment styles. So if a child's given the environment that tells them that, hey, like you're going to have everything that you need, you're provided for, um, they come to believe that relationships are healthy and that they can rely on their partners, right? When
yeah,
parents don't know how to give that, or maybe they're inconsistent with it, then the child grows up believing that relationships are inconsistent. And then they become fearful. And then they develop coping mechanisms to deal with relationships in times of distress. And so when you bring two people together, a lot of times you've got two totally different ways of functioning with stress. And when the shit hits the fan, and they're not paying attention to like, oh, like we both want each other, but we just don't know how to come together.
yeah.
I think that's where most of it stems from. So educating and learning, like, all right, what is my attachment style? How is it that I respond to stress? I think that is one of the biggest things that I see.